Hi everybody, this is Ben with BRG Music. I am gonna go over something that I kind of been messing around with lately. Teaching guitar has showed me a lot of interesting ways to come up with new ideas and whatnot. And this is one that I've been messing around with for a while. Uh, this takes my concept of playing permutations and applies it to pentatonic scales. I was teaching a couple students pentatonic scales and going through finger patterns and was trying to kind of challenge them a bit, um, you know, to learn some of these things and show them how to get creative with pentatonic scales. And this is kind of what I came up with. So what I'm going to do is play in A minor. I'm going to show you the patterns that I went over on the B and E strings, and then we'll do the permutation versions and kind of just do those in one position so you get an idea. And maybe this depends on time, I guess, where I end up at. But looking at the A minor pentatonic scale on the small two strings, B and E, we're going to do an octave worth of this stuff. But we're going to start by playing 3 and 5 on both the B and E strings, like 3 to 5 followed by 3 to 5. My next pattern is 5 to 8 on both the B and E strings. My pattern after that is 8 to 10 on both the B and E strings. All right, and then I'm going to go 10 to 13 on the B string and then 10 to 12 on the E string. So a couple ways you can finger that. You can do first to pinky, and then first to third. Or you can do first to third, first to second, or all first to third. Depending on what you're comfortable with. And depending on where you're playing that pattern on the neck, but in A minor, that's kind of where you play it, unless you're playing like that. Anyway, the next pattern is 13 to 15 on the B, and then 12 to 15 on the E string. And I'm just going to use, for now, you could do like 1 to 3, 1 to 4. I'm just use 1 to 3, 1 to 3. And then we're going to finish an octave higher where we started 15 to 17 on both the B and E strings. Which kind of is nice because if you run the whole thing, you end it on a high A. Right? Okay, so thinking about permutations. All right, we're playing 4-note groupings in this case. So a permutation is just an idea, a mathematical idea where you have combinations. How many combinations can you come up with this? So we have 4 notes. We're not going to repeat any notes. So our little formula is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which if you do the math quick, 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24, times 1 is 24. There's 24 ways to play any given 4-note permutation that does have a repeat. I talked about this in one of my other videos with using just straight 4 notes in a row. There's 24 ways to do that. If you want to work on that, you can check out my other videos for that. But using the pentatonic scale, we're just going to kind of do things down here at the 3rd and 5th fret for right now. If you played 1, 2, 3, 4, it would be the way I played those exactly like that. So I guess we'll go through each mode, and then the 5 and 8, 8 and 10, 10, 13, 10, 12, 13, 15, 12, 15, 15, 17, 15, 17. And that's just playing the notes in order, ascending 1, 2, 3, 4. So now let's go through this systematically in a way that makes sense, because if you do this systematically, it's easier to remember and you can follow a nice practice pattern. So what I'll do is I'm going to do 1, 2 again. So 3 and 5, that first 2 notes won't change, but I'll reverse the order of the last 2 notes. So I'll play 1, 2, 4, 3. Right? So it already sounds a little more interesting than your typical exercise. Then it's 5. So that was 3, 5, 5, 3. So 3, 5 on the B, 5, 3 on the E. So next it'll be 5, 8 on the B, 8, 5 on the E. Following the pattern, 8, 10, 10, 8. Then 10, 13, 12, 10. 13, 15, 15, 12. And then 15, 17, 17, 15. All right, so there's our first, moving on, we got 2 permutations done. We have 22 left if we keep going. All right. So that was 1, 2, 4, 3. The next one's going to be, we'll do this like I said, systematically. We've done the 2 possibilities to start with 1 and 2. Now we'll have 2 possibilities to start with 1 and 3. So we'll do 1, 3, and then 2, 4. So kind of like numerically in order. So the first note in the pattern was the 3rd fret of the B string, and the 3rd note would be the 3rd fret of the E string. So I'm going to play the 1st, the 3rd, the 2nd, and the 4th. So it's kind of like a... Right? And then the same thing at the 5th and 8th frets. 8th and 10th. It gets kind of interesting, like when you get up here with these the patterns that aren't uniform. So I got 10, 10, and then I have 12, 13, 12. For those who don't know, that little 13 to 12, that's a major third. So you get like a C chord kind of thing there. And then we're going to do the major third that I just talked about to start this, 13 to 12, and then 15, 15. And then 15, 17, or sorry, 15, 15, 17, 17. Like that. So it makes a lot of sense when you do it this way. So that was 1, 3, 2, 4. Now we'll do 1, 3, 4, 2. So we'll cover 2 combinations that start with 1 and 3. So this is going to be the same thing to begin with, then we'll reverse it. So you get some really interesting sounds, right away. So it starts to spice things up a bit. You get bored if you're just all the time. You do some of these things and things start to sound more interesting, right? Especially like... Oh, whoops, roll off the fingerboard. Like you can build licks off that, It gives you some more options, some more creative avenues to travel rather than just playing straight through forwards and backwards, which a lot of us do when we play scales. When we learn them, we just over and over. This is a really good way to like expand your horizons, so to speak. Okay, so that bugs me that I can't put that wrong. Anyway, going on, we've done the 1s, the 1 and 2s, the 1 and 3s. Now that we'll do the 1 and 4s. So it'll be the 1st note, the 4th note, and then we'll follow suit. So the pattern is going to be kind of cool. It's almost like an X when you do this. So the 1st note was the 3rd note of the B. The 4th note was the 5th fret of the E, kind of like that. And we're going to do 1, 4, 2, 3. So think of it like an X. There's the next position. Moving on to the next. Next one. Next one. Now this one's a little tricky because of the way you finger it. If you're, you've got to do some movement to get the pattern down. The first finger has to work unless you wanted to do it like almost like an arpeggio. Or I'm kind of hold my first finger on 12 and pivot off of it. Sounds very cool. And then this one. Notice I play that with both my 1st and 2nd fingers and my 1st and 3rd. You want to do what's comfortable and what allows you to play the things you're trying to express. So I practice as many fingerings as I possibly can and apply those. So the next one is the same thing, 1, 4, but then we're going to do 3, 2. So it's more, it's like the same direction, just crossing, string to string, string to string, Now the cool thing about some of these is, depending on how you play them, you start on a downbeat and it puts you in a certain place. It starts to, if you get lost where your beat's at, it can just sound like, if you're not careful, or, even just always have a reference point, like a metronome, or keep time with your foot or something to help you, find out where you're at. And this one. Let's see. Right? So that's kind of sweet. That's just all the ones that start with 1. So there's 6 of them. All right. So we've got another 6 that start with the second note, and then 6 that start with the third, 6 that start with the fourth. So you've got a very systematic way to do this. And I go through and I'll do whatever note it starts with, then I'll go numerically and then flip, as necessary. So if I look at the next group that starts with the second note, it's going to go like this. It'll be 2, 1, because I go to the first note. I have to play that second note, then I go to 1 because that's what starts it off, and then 3, 4. So it looks like this. It's kind of like backwards and forwards. Same thing on the next position. Next one. Next one. And then this one I'll probably or even that's probably the way to play it, especially up there. And then like that. Play it right. Like that. So that would be 2, 1, 3, 4. So I go backwards on the B string and then, normal direction on the E string. Now the next one, 2, 1, 4, 3, is just basically backwards on both strings. Right? So hopefully that makes sense. It's pretty simple. And if you get lost, comment below and I'll kind of talk you through it if I can. So next, that was 2, 1 and the 2 possibilities there. So we'll do 2, 3 and then its possibilities. So the second note, the third note, and then 1 and 4 in this case, kind of like a backwards X. So I'm doing 5 on the B, 3 on the E, and then, reverse that. This one, let's see, got to think about this. C to do. Right. So yeah, some of these are nice, especially where the fingerings aren't uniform. And then right. Okay, so moving on. Next one would be 2, 3, 4, 1. So this one's going to be, this will be just like the same direction, just flipping, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3. And then this is what I said about, the tempo, where you start. It starts to sound very, like something, it sounds like a basic, simple idea, but in reference to the beat and where you start, it makes it sound completely different. You can really easily start. Where that downbeat is makes all the difference, Otherwise, the motion's the same, but where you put it makes all the difference. That's kind of the point of practicing these things. So when you come across it in a song or something, it doesn't seem so odd. Simple things like this can sound crazy just because where they lay against the beat, nodding my head like extremely just to show you. I'm not headbanging to pentatonics or anything. But, I like that. I like these. You know. So it starts to sound really interesting. And these are great warm-ups too. I haven't played today, and this is kind of helping me get loosened up. You know, if I want to do something more dexterous or more challenging, this would be a great way to kind of like loosen up and get more creative and have some fun with the pentatonic scale. Okay, anyway, that was 1 4 3 2 1 4 2 3 1 4 3 2 1 4 3 2. Yep, that's the one because we already did the other one. Next one is going to be. Sorry, I meant to be. That was 2 C's. Wow, that was 2 3 4 1. I'll get it figured out here eventually. I should have written all this down and had a little sheet where you couldn't see it. I just do this out of my head anyway. So. But anyway, that was 2 3 4 1. Now I'm going to do 2 4 1 3, which is a roll exercise, which is really okay, and it's good to try to get that clean. A little volume issue. That starts there. And this is going to be the major third. I really like that one. And then now the next one's the same thing, but the last two notes are reversed. So I'm going to play, this would be 2 4 3 1. Great picking exercises. Let's see. Ooh. And when you get familiar with these sounds, you'll notice that you'll hear them in songs, and it'll help you, like, you know, figure out what you're playing a lot quicker, you know. If you can recognize a pattern, you know, it's just a pattern. You've got it, you know. We'll get to mixing them up in a little bit, but that's. This guitar's got a nice neck. I've actually, it's going to a friend of mine, and I think I'm gonna miss it. Anyhow, anyway, that was 2 4 3 1. So that's all the twos, right? We did 2 1 3 4 2 1 4 3 2 3 1 4 2 3 4 1, and then this 2 4 3 1 2 4 1 3. You know, 2 4 1 3 2 4 3 1. Okay. So going to the next one, we're going to start with the third note in the scale pattern. In this case, it's going to be on the high E string on each group, the first note on the high E string. So I'm going to play that third note, the first and the second. Whoops. And finish with the fourth. So kind of, it's like a lot like what we just did, but moving in the opposite direction. Right? it's simple, you know, really cool, and a lot like what we already done, but you know, starting from a different point makes you think differently and makes you more. You're not always like in the same pattern when you play. You're not always like, you don't always have to get, you know, start from the same spot. You can start from elsewhere and make something sound cool and musical against the beat. So that one was 3-1-2-4. This one's going to be 3-1-4-2. A couple ways you can pick this. I'm just picking between the strings. Some guys like to pick outside the strings, which is probably the way to do it because it's cleaner. Like you talk about picking, you know, you get trapped between two strings. Downstroke on the inside of the B and E, upstroke on the inside. If I start with an upstroke, I'm outside the strings, I get more speed and control. You know, that's just something to think about. Practice it both ways though, so you're not, you don't end up like weak in one spot. But you'll find that the opposite, starting with the upstroke, is going to be stronger every time. Just kind of moving through the modes. That's actually good. As you do these, like I'll mess around with these and I'll, you know, practice them pretty uniformly. But if I hear something cool and I go off on a tangent, fine, I don't care, as long as I'm doing something that broadens my horizons, you know. Like on its own, it doesn't sound complete, right? I want to resolve on that C, which is the 13th fret of the B string, if you don't know. Or the E is cool. So you can start to build your own licks real quick. Anyway, same thing. Let's see. I was at, oh yeah. You know, that's kind of, you know, some of these you'll find it, it's okay if you end in a certain place, but you want to, I think they resolve nicer elsewhere. For some reason, I hear C as a home base on that particular pattern, those two there. Anyway, that was 3-1-4-2. Next one's going to be 3-2-1-4. So kind of like a reverse. There's 3-2-1-4. So it's like an X we've already done, but starting on the E string. I like this. This is a challenging one, so. You can hold your finger there. You can do that. I kind of like that. It cleans it up if you can separate it, you know. It's a nice exercise for your first finger. Makes it move, you know. Like that. Okay. That was 3-2-1-4. Now 3-2-1, 3-2-4-1 is just going to start like the X. 3-2, and then go X backwards, so it's flipping the opposite direction than the one we did earlier. That's a really interesting kind of feel. Yes. Try it like this. And I'll experiment until I'm happy. You know what I mean? So I started to fall into a groove there, and that's probably the one I would rely on in an improv situation. You know, I wouldn't practice just that, but in an improv, you know, say that's the. You know, start to make up something that works really nice for what you're playing. Okay, so that was. All right, I had to remember where it's at. So this one's going to be. There we go. This is. It's almost like a plant, but I like to rock my fingers so I don't have that overtone. If you want the overtone, hold the finger on. That's another one of those that can be played inside or outside the strings, depending on how you want to play it. I like to play it outside. I hate I'm not really good with my, because when I was younger, I had really small hands when I started, so I used my pinky and my ring finger more than my second finger for some of these licks. And as I've grown, I've learned that, you know, a lot of this stuff was played with the first and second finger up here, which is why it sounds the way it does. That's actually you speed that up and make it a nice little finishing lick. You know, it ends on A. Okay, so that was 3, 2, 4, 1. Now we'll do so we did 3, 2. Now we'll do 3, 4. So this is pretty simple to begin with. 3, 4, 1, 2. It's just going to be high E string, ascending, and then B string, ascending. So I tried to make something musical out of that. You know, it's like it needed a break in it to make it sound nice, and that's you experiment with these things and see what you think sounds cool. You know, you know, wait for it, and that kind of thing right there. You know, when you do those kinds of things, that makes your audience pay attention. You know, if you're just ripping and you keep hitting notes, it all starts to sound, you know, blah, 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 and people are like, they don't care. Those pauses can make a big difference in how you sound. You know, it makes you wait for that note. And you anticipate it. You know, if it's in tempo, it'll sound good. Anyway, that was 3, 4, 1, 2. Now 3, 4, 2, 1 is our next one. So basically, ascend the E string mode and descend the B string. I'm gonna play that. I want to use my pinky, but Pentatonics was never my like forte, you know. I've learned over the years recently, you know, especially recently, I get, you know, more. I write some really nice phrases, and I get a lot out of the pentatonic scale, and I can use it to do some really cool things. So some players get way into the diatonic scales, and they tend to like look down on the pentatonic scale, but it's a great expressive tool for rock and blues and everything else, you know, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't. Don't ever discount it, because what limits it is your creativity. So doing things like this makes it more fun. Anyhow, that was 3, 4, 2, 1. So that's our third group of 6. That's 18. Now we got 6 more to go and we're done. So all these will start with the 4th note. in the sequence. So I'm going to do 4. I'll start with 4, then I'll do 1, 2, and 3. It's nice and simple. Now this is the same thing I talked about earlier. You know, where you start makes a difference. You know what I mean? I gotta quit using that fingering. Right? So that's that same thing. It seems like you're just playing ascending, but you're not. You're starting on a higher note, and where you put it makes all the difference. So the next one's going to be that was 4, 1, 2, 3. This one will be 4, 1, 3, 2. Play it right. So there's 4, 1. Whoops. So you can mix those two together and actually come up with some really cool ideas. Like right there, it's just 2 very close fingerings, you know. So if I did the 4, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then follow with just do those 2 in a row, you've got a nice lick. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 2. You know, it's interesting. So you can start to string these together and come up with new ideas real fast. So the next one's going to be 4, 2, and then 1, 3. Right? So. That's cool. So that was 4, 2, 1, 3. Next one's 4. This is going to be 4, 2, 3, 1. So just a rolling. Okay, so that was 4, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1. The numbers are getting mixed up because of this is the first time I've like sat and played through all these in a row. So next 4, 3, that was 4, 2, 3, 1. Now the next couple are just going to be pretty easy. So 4, 3, 1, 2, which is, you know, descending the E string, ascending the B. Nice and easy there, right? And then the last one, of course, is the reverse of the very first one. So this is just descending the modes. 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's kind of a basic rundown of using like a simple permutation of 4 notes to make pentatonic playing a little more interesting, you know. So if you were jamming along, you know, you're like right there, coming up with that lick. I just did the. You know, using that kind of that little X pattern, you know. You can use the. You get some nice, interesting kinds of sounds that way. And if you take your time and just you know, practice these things, take your time when you're jamming and doing improv or improvising, you can hear some really nice ideas. Everything doesn't need to be blazing fast, and a lot of these ideas sound really cool slow. It's kind of like you let your music breathe and talk, and you've got some really interesting stuff. I can, you know, play certain songs and do fast solos on them and stuff, and I really get a kick out of like a simple progression with some real expressive, you know, nice. Those kinds of things are a lot of fun and really speak to people, and work really well for getting your point across without you know, doing, you know, so much. I mean, I'm past the point of trying to prove myself as a guitar player. I just enjoy playing, and that's a lot of fun to just experiment and see what sounds are like, and just enjoy the music and what you can do with the knowledge that you've built over the years. But I hope you have fun with some of these ideas. I know it's not, you know, the most interesting thing in the world to talk about pentatonics anymore, but for me, I've found they can be really cool if you do them a certain way. Now, that's just the minor/major pentatonic scale that we all know. You can apply these ideas to any kind of pentatonic scale. I've talked about like these different pentatonic scales where I'll use in A, I'll use a, like say playing an A, I'm going to use like this. What if I played a C sharp instead? Then you can apply these same ideas to that, which is really nice. So what if we're doing? You know, then you've got something that sounds really interesting that's not just your basic pentatonic scale that everyone hears, and it's kind of out of the box. Really like that. What if you did like a Japanese pentatonic scale, you know, like the Hirajoshi or whatever it's called? So that would be, if I did that in A minor, what? How do we do that? Let's see, I've done it a couple ways. Let's do this. So yeah, we'll cut out the. So like that would be the whole scale. When we're down here, what I play? I gotta think about it a second. Okay, so I'm playing like 6 to 10, and then 7 and 8. Now what if we apply some of these ideas to that? It sounds nice and haunting, doesn't it? Of course, all this stuff is just, you know, an A minor scale minus 2 notes. and this just happens to be one possible combination. So I can play that like that Japanese type scale. Let's see, if we play it right, we'll be in good shape. And then I go right back to like a regular A minor pentatonic scale, or this A minor scale. And it really makes what seems so simple much cooler, you know, and great guitar players do these kinds of things. They meld these ideas together seamlessly, you know, and that's kind of the cool part. You can sit and play in one idea and sound a certain way, or you could do like what someone like Randy Rhoads did, that first look in Crazy Train, that first lead break, you know, and Little Phil. He plays like 3 different scales there. He plays the pentatonic scale, you know. What is it? And he hits the blues scale with this note. And yeah, he touches on the minor scale too. So there's, you know, within that lick, a whole bunch of ideas. And that's really cool. It's when he hits that 3rd fret that he gets the minor scale. There's the blues scale. So it's minor pentatonic. Then it's thinking diatonic minor scale. Then it's blues scale. The rest of the way down. So think about those things when you're practicing scales. You're not limited to that one idea or that one form or anything. There's all the possibilities stack in there, and you're going to be able to find things that fit and sound cool, like constantly, you know. And it really comes down to how you feel and how creative you are. If it ever feels like it's a drag, take a break, come back to it. You'll find that it's not as boring as you're making it. I at one point I was kind of burnt out. There's nothing I want to do that sounds cool. It all sounds samey, you know. I did a lot of Phrygian stuff and I kind of burnt out on it, and then I just like forced myself to like try some different things, and it opened doors back up. And now you get back to that mode where there's always something new to learn, and if you keep yourself questing for knowledge, you're never going to be bored, you know, which is the important thing. And it keeps guitar playing fun and all the other stuff. Of course, buying new gear doesn't hurt either. Just saying. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. You can visit us online at www.brgmusic.com. Stop in the shop in Perry if you're in town. We're about 35 miles northwest of Des Moines Metro on Highway 141. It's a 65 mile per hour drive all the way out here. So nice 4-lane roll. No problems, you know. And give us a call at 515-329-0120. I teach here. I do repairs. I sell a lot of stuff. As you can see in the background, a lot of Legator guitars, a lot of different Deans and G&Ls and the Austins and Teton guitars and Alvarez guitars, of course, and PV amplifiers and PA and stuff. So please feel free to come out and stop in, check us out online, and enjoy. Have fun playing your scales, and comment below if you want to say anything. I know that I'm not playing the best today. I was just wanting to share this information. I haven't done a video in a while, but I thought it was well past time to do it. So I hope you enjoy. But keep playing, keep practicing, and talk to you next time. Later.